Hello, everyone. We've all seen crazy before in our day-to-day lives, but have you ever seen crazy in a courtroom? Well, today is your chance to see crazy in a courtroom. And I'm not talking about Judge Judy or some stage stuff that you would see on television. I'm talking about actual crazy in a courtroom. Hi, I'm attorney Joe Pometto, and this is the Joe Pometto Law Show. Today, we are going to take a look at an individual. His name is Dick Marple. This is taking place in New Hampshire. All of these sovereign citizens seem to be in New Hampshire. I'm learning something here. An individual named Dick Marple who's in court to challenge a criminal case against him, a traffic-related case. Now, he doesn't come out and say that he's a sovereign citizen, but he's going to make some statements in here that shows that he's applying some of these sovereign citizen arguments to his argument. Really, what he's doing is he's applying crazy to his argument, and he's hoping that that's going to help things go his way. Now, I'm normally sympathetic to what some of the sovereign citizens say, but what you're going to see here is just straight up disrespect to the court, disrespect to other people who are in court for the court business, and disrespect to the bailiff, okay? And that aggravates me, that annoys me, all right? There's ways to protest, okay, but this guy is just being, in my opinion, he's just being a jagoff. That's a Pittsburgh word. That's what we call people instead of jackasses around. He's being a jagoff. So this is going to be a different format. I'm going to hang out in the corner. I'm going to make stops so that I can comment because this is entertaining and there's things that I want to add, and I want to drop a little gold dust in when I see the crazy happening. So I hope you enjoy this. I'm going to start it in a second. If you like my videos, subscribe, like, and share. Subscribe, like, and share. I also leave a comment. I try to get to all of them. This incentivizes me to create more videos because YouTube will reward me, okay? And I like the positive feedback or the negative feedback, criticism, but the feedback, I need the feedback, okay, for me to keep going. So I hope you guys are enjoying this. I hope you enjoy this format. Give me a comment on the format. All right, let's get started.
Former cop and four-term state representative from Hooksett, New Hampshire. In the summer of 2016, he was arrested on a warrant for driving with an invalid license and released on $4,000 personal recognizance. He attended an arraignment in June and challenged the court's jurisdiction, among other things, and then was later arrested while campaigning on Election Day, November 9th. Police say he failed to appear at Concord District Court to answer to charges of driving while license suspended and prohibitions regarding an allegedly invalid license. This week, Dick was back in court for a case status hearing, where he let the judge have it in front of a full courtroom.
That's what my mother told me I would.
All right. Mr. Marple, this is scheduled for a case status hearing. All right. I know that you normally prefer to stay on the other side of the bench, but if you wish to come up, I understand that you still challenge the court's jurisdiction, but if it's easier, you think you can hear me better if you're at the table here, that's fine.
I'm going to pay the table over here.
Okay, very good. I'll try to speak.
There's a couple of things I'd like to point out. Of course, the seal that's above your head on the wall, that's a corporate seal.
Okay, hold on just a second.
And that's what we're talking about. I don't enter the corporate jurisdiction.
Okay, hold on just a minute. I just want to get the record straight.
Okay, so right there we saw our little sign of sovereign citizenship. He points to the court seal and he says, that's a corporate seal. Now, you just heard the introduction from this guy. He's a former state representative, a former police officer, and a former military veteran. So the guy's worked for the federal government, the state government, and the local government as a cop. And now he's coming in to the courts, and he's saying that the courts are illegitimate, and that the sovereign citizenship arguments should apply. Okay, I understand these people, the sovereign citizens who have nothing to do with the government or the court system. They want to be left alone. But this guy's been in it his whole life. And now he's walking into the courtroom and pointing out the corporate seal. I mean, what's going on here, man? I mean, that's why I said we're watching crazy today. Okay, this is an enigma packed inside a paradox, and what it really is just a contradiction. All right, you don't serve in the government for your entire career and then walk into a courtroom and call the government illegitimate. The other hilarious thing is that they said that he was arrested on election day. He was arrested for driving on a suspended license and another license-related issue. These aren't major crimes. He's making this big scene about something that is not, him facing jail time on this is extremely unlikely. Okay, so he's just coming in here to make a scene and to be disrespectful. But that election day, and I'll post some links here, he got arrested on election day. He's running, and here's the best part to top it all off. When I said you're going to watch crazy, and maybe the people in New Hampshire are crazy, okay? He won the election. He won the election when he got arrested on the same day. Let's get back.
Scheduled for a case status hearing. It was scheduled for a trial back in October. You failed to appear. A warrant was issued. You were picked up on the warrant, and the case was scheduled today for a case status hearing. Now go ahead. I know you had a couple challenges that you wish to put on the record, so go ahead.
You mentioned I picked up on a warrant. There's a few things that took place after the election, and that is I received 2 documents, which are under the law presentments from the corporation doing business as the court here. This is a private corporation. In fact, the Supreme Court of this state is a private corporation operating for profit and providing a judicial service to another corporation. And that corporation has as its seal above your head and what is here, top seal, on what I call the technical manual for legislators and judges. This is the supreme law of the land. And I'm going to refer to it right now because you mentioned the warrant that I was picked up on. Article 87 says former writs, that's a warrant. And I have no evidence that Article 87 was obeyed or complied with. After being arrested, I asked him, I said, where's the warrant? He said, electronic warrant. I said, what's an electronic warrant? It has no signature of the court, has no signature of the, or seal of the court, has no signature for the, and this is a violation of Article 87. I still submitted.
All right, I'm going to stop right there to jump in. You can see he's videotaping this thing, so it's the whole thing. The whole thing is an act. All right, so let's start off there. Now he goes into these arguments about the warrant. The warrant. This is, you hear the judge say this is a status conference. A status conference, you don't go into a status conference and start arguing substantive issues. Okay, a status conference is to just let the judge and both sides get on the same page about what's going on with the case and how it's going to proceed, all right? And he's in here insisting that he take up her time. He gets more into the sovereign citizen stuff. Again, this is a presentment of the court. Any document from the court is a presentment. That doesn't mean anything, okay? But he's using this language that it's a corporation, that it's a corporation. Hey, you can call it a court whatever you want. It's going to take jurisdiction over you. Another ridiculous thing that he has going on here is he's standing all the way behind the bench, okay, behind the court area, as if there's some sort of, I don't know, a magical force field, and if he steps into there, he's all of a sudden going to get the court's going to take jurisdiction over him. Let me tell you something, dude. The court can have jurisdiction of you even if you're not in the room. You don't even necessarily have to be in the country, and the court can make rulings that affect your life. Okay, so standing behind this little door like you're some sort of force field or something, and not only has no effect at all, but frankly it's disrespectful and it forces you to scream. And that's probably why he's really doing it, because he's trying to make a little video here. He talked about Article 87 not being obeyed. I looked up Article 87 of the New Hampshire Constitution, and it's typical language that covers the issuance of warrants. It does have to be signed by an issuing authority, a magistrate judge, a common pleas court judge, and then the clerk of courts. All right. He says, oh, this is an electronic warrant I was picked up on. Yeah, that's true. The original paper warrant is going to stay with the court. Now, if this was a warrant, if this was a search warrant for a house, yeah, the police are supposed to bring that with them. And if you ask for it, they're supposed to give it to you. Now, if they don't follow those rules, it doesn't necessarily mean that the search is a bad search, but those are the rules they're supposed to follow on the search of a house. On an arrest warrant, which is what this gentleman was picked up on because he had a failure to appear in court, they don't have to hand you a copy, okay? The police are going to come and they're going to arrest you. And all they need to know is that the warrant was issued and signed, and they may be able to see it electronically. He doesn't have any right to have the warrant handed to him, the warrant given to him physically, that he can see the signature for it. You can make those challenges later, okay? But you can't make those challenges while it's happening. You can't ask for the warrant if they're searching your house while it's happening. But an arrest warrant, you're not going to see it when they're putting the cuffs on you. It's not going to work that way. All right, let's see what some more of this guy has to say.
To the arrest, because
Are you referencing the New Hampshire Constitution when you say Article 87? Is that what you're?
Article 87 is specific. There's no amendment to Article 70 that I can find.
So that's the New Hampshire Constitution.
That's one of the issues that I say. There's a warrant wasn't a valid warrant.
All right. Well,
So both of them. That's twice that you did it right.
you have two issues to discuss. First is whether the warrant was valid or not. All right. Doesn't change right now for this proceeding the case status, which is basically just to schedule it for trial. Now, if you have an issue with the warrant, there's certainly other avenues available, but this court can't give you any relief for the warrant piece because that's an equity argument. So what we have left here is the charges against you. We need to reschedule them for trial. Now, the argument that you just started to make is a little different than the one you made the last time. That I deny your motion basically to.
I didn't make a motion, ma'am.
Well,
I can't make a motion because I haven't given you
Let her finish
a
first, sir.
That's
Don't
okay.
interrupt her.
Mr. Markle and I have an understanding here. I understand you say that you are not going to file any motions, so I will refer to them as arguments, okay? But the reality is the court has said we do have jurisdiction to hear the case of the driving after suspension. So what I'm going to do today is we're going to give you a new trial date. And I recognize that you have other arguments that you wish to make, and ones that you were making today about the state of New Hampshire being a corporation is different than what you've argued before. So if you wish to submit some other documents about your argument of why, under that theory, the court doesn't have jurisdiction, you're welcome to do so. And do we have a trial date?
Yes, it's going to be on January 23rd at 1:30 p.m.
All right, so, please give Mr. Martin, you have that right. Or Jim Higgins, okay. And Jim, if you would please give Mr. Martin his next court date. And then Mr.
I'm going to stop it here because I want to talk about this judge a little bit. So she's being very nice to this gentleman when he's clearly being sort of belligerent. Now, usually the person when you have two people going at each other, okay, this is just my impression of things, and is you have two people going after each other. The person who is calmer is the one who is in control. The one who is being emotional generally has less control of the situation. And from a third party perspective, okay, the third party observer is going to start to favor the person, who is calm and appears to be in control, not the whacked out lunatic emotional individual. Now in this courtroom, there's a whole bunch of people who are there for their cases. There's court personnel, there's attorneys, all right? The judge generally reigns supreme in these types of situations. This guy is going to push those limits. I understand the judge being calm at first, staying cool, staying non-emotional, keeping the situation under control. But at a certain point, you got to step in and show him who's boss, all right? We're going to watch a couple more minutes here, but what I'm going to tell you is after the break, okay, when I stop, he comes back into the courtroom and continues to berate her like this for about 15 minutes, and she just takes it. But let's watch the end of it, and then I'll make some additional comments.
I think you understand that anything that you wish to argue, you do need to put in writing, and then the state has an opportunity to respond.
Well, that's exactly why I want some questions answered here. And I think there's an obligation under Article 15, because I'm an accused, I'm not a defendant.
And
I'm only accused.
I changed that in your
And you made a correction in the record. Thank you. Now, this is what the document here that I received. And you'll see, this says, criminal. On in a criminal case. If this is a criminal case, then you gotta have a jury trial. That's what this said, criminal. I don't know, and that's why I said it. I'm completely confused of why I am here, and nobody is answering it.
Well, sir, as we've discussed, the state of New Hampshire has charged you with a Class B misdemeanor for driving, displaying a New Hampshire license that had been suspended, and for the violation of operating under suspension. Your trial date will be given to you, and either before that trial date, you don't need to have a sign, you just give it to you, please. Ms. Marble, on or before that trial date, any other arguments that you want to make, you need to do them in writing. Then the state gets to respond, and then I will rule on them. But either way, the next court date, you're being given in hand, and that is your trial date. Thank you.
You have not, you're denying due process. You're denying due process, madam. That's what you did the last time. You left without giving me due process.
You may be seated.
Okay, we have other people up here, so you're going to have to shut that down.
As soon as he's done, I'll stop.
No, you're going to shut it down because there's people up here who may be witnesses or victims. So you can shut it down now, or
I'm here to record whatever goes on with this gentleman. So,
once the judge comes back, you can. We have victims, we have defendants, and everything else.
are you threatening me?
No, I'm telling you that if you don't, you'll be arrested.
That sounds like a threat.
Nope, it's a fact. So what are you going to do, sir?
I'll stop recording because you're threatening.
Whatever way you take it, please stop recording.
I already stopped.
We could have picked a policy.
I'm a security guard. You need to file a motion with the judge.
I already done that. Let me show you.
May I check?
That's been done.
Okay, so I stopped the video right there. We're gonna wrap this up. You can watch the rest of the video. So a couple of things here. He says, I'm a criminal. You're calling me a criminal. I have the right to a jury trial. That may not be true. I don't know what the law is in New Hampshire, but in Pennsylvania, only if you're facing a certain period of jail time do you actually have the right to a jury trial. Okay, if the case that is against you can't put you in jail for more than 6 months, you don't have the right to a jury trial. So I don't know if this guy actually knew what he was talking about. People have these taglines and things that we pick up in popular culture and then spit out maybe in situations like this. He could be completely full of shit. Okay. He goes on and on about the warrants. There's a place and time. He's got to file a motion to challenge the warrants. Okay. What happens in the rest of the video, if you watch the rest of the videos, he leaves the courtroom, goes, files his motion, comes back in the courtroom, interrupts the judge doing another case, and yells about the motion for 15 minutes when she hasn't even seen it because he filed it during the break. All right, and this goes back to the dynamic that I was talking about before, about usually when you appear calm, you appear to be the party in control. But when you put up with this belligerent individual for such a long period of time, okay, you cease to look like you have power and authority. And I think that this judge, through the course of this interaction, does a terrible job of asserting her power and authority. Now, right at the end there was a discussion with the bailiff and the individual with the camera crew. And the bailiff was like, turn the camera off. You can turn it back on when the judge comes back in. Every jurisdiction is a little bit different. Let me tell you something. There's no right to have a camera in the courtroom. You ever watch the news and you see the little doodles, okay, of the defendants, this and that? That's because the judge ordered that there would be no cameras or recording in the courtroom. They can't deny reporters going in there, and they really aren't going to deny a sketch artist coming in and sketching, okay? But they don't have to let you have cameras. They don't have to let you record video and sound. I know for a fact, a lot of these judges in Pittsburgh, this guy wouldn't have recorded an instant. And if he kept trying, he'd have been put in jail and held in contempt of court. I've seen judges in Pittsburgh hold attorneys and probation officers in contempt of court for pulling out their cell phone because they might be recording and the judge doesn't know what the heck you're doing when you're waving your cell phone around like this. Okay? So again, this judge is just way too permissive, in my opinion, and she's not commanding or demanding respect. This dude might have done this to a bunch of other judges, and he didn't get away with this crap. All right, and for whatever reason, this judge lets it go on out of respect for his age or his military service. I don't know, but I don't agree with it. She should have shut it down 5 minutes in. Boom, handcuffs gone in contempt of court. That's what I think a good judge would need to do. Have him removed, and if he keeps coming back in, hold him in contempt of court. Another tag word that people use, due process, due process. Most people don't have an understanding of what due process is. You just feel like when you're being denied something that you're being denied due process. When you feel like your voice isn't being heard or your rights aren't being asserted, you're being denied due process. Due process has very specific legal meaning. Okay. Meanwhile, you got this guy who doesn't recognize that this is the court and it's a corporate seal crying about due process. So, we learned a couple of things in this video today. I think it's worth knowing when it comes to warrants and arrest warrants, there's different types of warrants. You're going to have a search warrant to search a house or a vehicle or a location. There's body warrants to search an individual, and there's arrest warrants to bring someone in to jail because they have a case that is pending. Each one of them have different intricacies, and sometimes they're combined and sometimes they're not. With an arrest warrant, which is what this gentleman was picked up on, okay, there's no right to have the physical warrant handed to you. You can challenge the warrant later in court. If you watch my earlier videos, you submit and then you fight the case in court later on. So that's one lesson that we learned. As far as the right to a jury trial, it's not absolute. There's reasonable restrictions placed on it. In Pennsylvania, you have to be facing more than 6 months in jail. In his case, driving on a suspended license and other traffic stuff, it likely doesn't carry a maximum sentence of 6 months. He may not have a right to a jury trial, and he doesn't even know it. Those were the major points I think we learned here. The final lesson that I would give you guys is don't be a jackass in court. Most judges are not this permissive. Some judges I know would have arrested him and the whole crew. And this judge should have asserted her authority. And judges have to assert their authority right from the beginning. Okay, because if you give people a leash, and this is an environment that is very emotionally charged, so they have to command respect. If you give people an inch, they'll take a mile. I've seen people arrested in court, etc., etc. These judges have the power to rule their courtroom like that. And really, honestly, it's the only way that business can be done. You can protest the courtrooms outside peacefully. Okay, you can observe inside the courtroom. You may even be able to protest in the hallway, but doing it in the courtroom is not the place for it to be done. And you're only going to make yourself look worse. I think this guy makes himself look bad. I can't believe he's a former state representative going in there and then he won his election on the day that he got arrested. Whatever. I mean, the people pick who they pick, but I think it's pretty disingenuous of him to go in and challenge the authority of a court and use sovereign citizen arguments while at the same time running for the government running for a governmental office of a government that he claims is a hypocrisy. I hope you enjoyed this video today. I will tag to the whole video below. Okay, there's more you can watch when he comes back and is an even bigger jackass and basically walks all over this judge for another 15 minutes. She was trying to avoid a conflict. She should have had the conflict. Sometimes you got to have the conflict and you got to win, or at least you got to try. But you can watch the rest of the video below. I'm going to do courtroom and out-of-courtroom analyses of sovereign citizens and non-sovereign citizen. This guy's like a quasi-sovereign citizen. I hope you enjoyed this material. Please like, please subscribe, please comment. And please share this video if you find it interesting. I love the feedback and the support. I'm getting a lot of love from the community, and I enjoy it. Thank you very much for your time.